Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the market recap. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, make sure to check out the links in the description below for the Patreon and Discord. And quick reminder, we are entering the last couple weeks for the free trial for the swing trade service in the Discord. So if you have not been participating in that service, the free trial that's been going on for the entire month of November, make sure to take a look. You're really missing out. We've had really nice trades over the whole month, and we're in a good amount of trades both in stocks and crypto. But once this month ends, that service will go back behind the $15 paywall. And if you would like to follow that service, you would have to pay $15 a month, which I do believe is extremely affordable. And for the amount of winning we've done, I believe it pays back in dividends. All right, now let's get into the recap. We'll start off with the dollar like usual. So as we can see with the dollar, came right up in to this fair value gap right here and pretty much filled it. We had a closure above it, so we can actually take this bearish FFG right on off. And what I'm likely seeing now, coming into this daily open here, watch, or I should say daily closure, watch for the pullback back towards 106.560. We may then potentially see a bit of a higher low from this low down here, so something like this, and then look for either a consolidation that's a bit rising, so going towards, again, the highs of this zone at 108.09, and potentially starting to tap into this larger fair value gap right over here, and the bottom side of this bullish structure is lost, or watch for it to descend and still make a consolidation going back down, all the way coming, grinding towards 104. In the end, though, if it were to do something like this, okay, so let me just clean up some of this, the doodling. If it were to do something like that, that has to have more of a bullish bias. So we don't want to see that, because if this happens, we're going to be looking at a much bigger rise, probably towards the higher fair value gap up here. So back towards 110 to 111. That's not the most probable path right now, but we do have to, map that out. That can be a possibility. What I see happening, if we should come back down, so let's get rid of all of that doodling. If we should come back down and then we start losing this level, watch for it to just stream lower, okay? Stream lower and come right on in towards 104, and then find some support around here after it takes out the liquidity that's pooling under this swing low here. So you'll see something like this, and then a pop up, and then potentially a larger consolidation from there. All right, but overall, I am more bearish on the dollar in the short term. Looking at the longer term, like the monthly, the weekly, and so, I have to be on the more bullish side of things. But I do think we're going to have a pullback in the dollar over a decent amount of time, probably most of December, maybe early January of 2023. Now let's take a look at the Dow. So the Dow is next. Really bullish. I've been telling you, as we've been going through these market recaps, this was a bullish consolidation, pretty much a bear flag, a textbook bear flag. Had the break up, and today we are about to confirm the break of these high wicks. So about in 45 seconds, we'll have a very nice daily closure, but it's coming into this bearish fair value gap and really coming after the liquidity levels above this swing high. So watch for this daily close, and then watch for a little bit higher, and then we may see a pullback here. We may see some resistance around this zone, because we're just tapping into all the liquidity that's been pulling above this level. But this is beautiful. This is what you want to see in the Dow after such a nice breakout from this descending trend line. All right, so next is the S&P. All right, and sorry guys if I'm coming off fairly tired. It's been a long day. I'm trying to have as much energy as I can, but it's the holiday season over here. We're going into Thanksgiving, so I'm sorry if I'm a little low energy. Had a lot to do today, but hopefully it's not too bad. S&P, beautiful bull flag as well. Beautiful bull flag formation here as well. Look at how it's breaking up here into the fair value gap. Watch for this to come all the way up to the top side of this fair value gap at 4,060 essentially. So 4,060, I see this whole fair value gap getting filled, and eventually us tapping above this level here to grab the liquidity above the zone. It looks really nice, guys. I see just good continuation over this holiday week to get towards this level. But remember, as we get towards the end of the week, the books are going to get a lot thinner. We're gonna have a lot less liquidity, a lot less volume all throughout the markets because it's during the holidays. So be careful of any major moves in one direction or the other. They're probably going to be fairly short lived. And watch out for the fake outs. They're on the way. But overall, I like what we're seeing. We're seeing more bullish activity as we go into December, and it's pretty much playing out as we expected, right? I said that as we come down to these lows, watch for us to break up higher, and now we're gonna likely fill out this entire fair value gap. Next is the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq trading pretty much on top of the top side of this descending channel, so pretty much oscillating around this level. Tapped into this larger fair value gap here a couple of times, finding the liquidity, and now we have a bullish engulfing candle that's closed. So this is very good for continuation, at least in the Nasdaq, and look for a break up to eventually challenge this high wick. And in my opinion, we're likely going to see this break all the way back up towards this green zone here. So watch for Nasdaq to eventually make it back towards 12,460. Next, I'm going to be looking at the oil chart. So let's take a quick look at oil. Oil had a really wacky week so far. So I mentioned in the last recap, it kind of got messed around with. There was some news that that Saudi Arabia was going to actually increase their supply. They were going to increase the output, but then Saudi Arabia, OPEC, they pretty much denied that story, saying they're not going to increase supply. But that caused oil to go up, so it caused this big wick buy up, and we actually had a bit of a continuation here. But look where it got bought up of, right off of this level here. So right at the zone here, about 75. So it came right towards this support level, grabbing the liquidity below this low swing. And we're probably going to see a continuation move going at least up towards 84.48, 84.50, and potentially we may even go a bit higher and tap towards the highs here at 88. But once we get towards here, watch for a continued break lower. Reason why is because we do have to respect that, hey, we are taking out lows, we are making lower highs, so be prepared for a move down. Okay, we don't want to map out the lower probability path of us breaking up higher all the way towards 100. We may get there, but I don't think we're going to get there just yet. I think it'll be later in December, but watch for us to come towards these levels at 84.50 towards like $88, and then a break lower, probably under 75, and finally reaching towards 68 to $65. Okay. All right, next let's take a look at gold and silver. And here we are. So gold had a beautiful bullish retracement into this fair value gap zone. Now I do see it potentially going lower. I think we're going to see a bearish consolidation. Draw that a bearish consolidation in this level here. So we're going to probably see some sort of bear flag or rising wedge kind of form here, and then lead towards a drop further. Okay. Now this bear flag or rising wedge, however you want to call it, you may actually see it kind of rise fairly high, something like this, and then break lower. But this is still bullish in my opinion, as we're just trying to get the fuel to fill out this fair value gap and then tap into the liquidity under this level here at this fair value gap here. And potentially we may even get all the way down to this level here. As long as we hold pretty much this level here at 1638 or any of these fair value gaps, we have to have a bullish bias on gold. I mean, it did break the downtrend line. This looks absolutely fabulous in my opinion. Next is silver. So silver, again, having a nice breakup day. Had a really nice day today, and we're likely going to see a bit of a continuation up, but the continuation up is coming into where? The top side of this fair value gap here. So you may not see it here, but let me actually pop this on the chart. So we have a bearish FVG right here. Okay, so we tapped into it here on this candle here, and we're probably going to trade back into this level right towards 21.4 and maybe 21.430, which kind of coincides with the top of this microphone structure that SLV is in. Okay, so watch as we come towards this level for rejection, and then that continuation lower to fill out this larger fair value gap there. Okay. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin, see how Bitcoin's doing today. So opening up the Bitcoin chart, very interesting. So if you rewatch my market recap, I told you that we are likely going to break down, all right, if we do validate the bear flag right here. This looks like the beginning of that validation. Now, the full measured move of this bear flag is all the way down towards 9,000, or about 9,100 to 10,000. I believe that's the zone. All right, so that doesn't mean it's going to go straight to that level. If we're going to fully validate the bear flag structure and do a one-to-one move, via the measurement, then we could see that, but that may take some significant amount of time. All right, because what you could end up seeing, and what you're probably going to see, is as we come piercing these lows, as we have here, you're grabbing the liquidity that was sitting under this level. So we may actually see a pretty nice rise coming back towards 16,800. All right, if we get past that level, all right, watch for us to break up and then break back down, and potentially trying to retake this trend line as support and try and make a shorter term trend move up. So a new low and then a new higher low. This will not, okay, this sort of structure that we see here will not actually invalidate the bear flag. All right, the bear flag will get invalidated though once the flagpole is completely taken. Okay, so once this flagpole is completely taken, so right here at 20,500 or 20,600, just about, that's when you know this bear flag structure didn't validate, it failed, and we're likely going to break up higher. We're not there yet. We don't want to map that out before we actually are there. All we can see now is that we've tapped under this level here slightly, grabbed some liquidity that was there, had a nice pop, and now we're going to see in about 2 hours, we'll see this daily candle, we'll see how it closes. If we can get a bullish engulfing, we should see continuation. If we don't, what we may end up seeing, we may see slight continuation and then a pullback lower. All right, and what I would like to ideally see is a very slow grind down rather than a continuation trend, like a continuation move down that pushes the downtrend. I would want to see a grind that looks more like a descending wedge structure, so sort of like this, okay? Because what that does, it implies that at least we're going to see a rally up before any continuation lower. And we want to see a rally up to grab some of the liquidity that's been pulling above our head for months, right? So those levels are this FFG right here. And now we have this level right here above this high wick, and ideally all the way back up towards 22,000. Though I can't say we're going to get there. That's very unlikely. I do think we can see, it's not completely absurd to say that we're going to get back towards 18,000 and change, 19,000 potentially, and then potentially pull back from there. Okay, so this FVG looks very likely, if we don't have a straight up waterfall down, to get tested before we continue lower. So I'm somewhat bearish on crypto, on Bitcoin, but I have to have a bullish bias in the short term if the Dow is going to stay bullish as it is. Okay, but midterm, Bitcoin still looks like it's going to validate the bearish structure, the bearish macro trend, so watch out for that. And the dollar, though the dollar is going to be weak to me for most of December, watch for it to strengthen here and there, which will bring on pressure to Bitcoin as Bitcoin gets towards those bottoming levels, which I do think will probably be around 12, 10, potentially sub 10, but we might not see those levels until far out into the future. We're talking sometime middle 2023. A lot of this stuff isn't going to happen very quickly, but if you are in the swing trade service, it doesn't really matter because we're playing the levels by levels, and we've been doing that all year. So make sure you're participating in the free trial. It's been very, very successful, and if you've been a follower, then you know that it's been very, very successful, and I'm going to work really, really hard to make sure I can keep it at that standard to the best of my ability, and when I don't, to be as transparent and honest about it, and really try and learn from any mistakes I do make in the trades. Okay, and if you do have any questions, make sure to be in the Discord. It's the easiest way to get in contact with me. I try and be as responsive as I can, and yeah. So everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.